Last night our subject was an urban MLA, Summerside's Nancy Guptill. And tonight we join 3rd Kings member Peter Doucette for a day in the life of a country politician. Here's Doug Huskelson.
It's shortly after 8 on a cold Thursday morning. Peter Doucette is starting another day. A day that will take him across his riding, include a couple hours in both his Montague and Charlottetown offices, and only end after a late evening meeting. It's a typical 14-hour day in the life of this rural politician.
That's World Report from CBC Radio News.
The hard-packed snow crunches underfoot as Doucette makes his way into a restaurant for a hearty breakfast and a quick glance at the provincial paper.
Thank you very much, Peter.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a good day.
He's Peter to everyone. Rural Islanders aren't pretentious about titles, and they don't expect their politicians to be. As he makes his way up Highway 4 to Bridgetown, talk turns to a pet peeve of his. He gets annoyed when he's confronted about the perks politicians are said to enjoy.
Or the myth has been perpetrated on most people in PEI that all of these MLAs that are elected in the province all have a government car. And I can tell you categorically that we don't. That other than the cabinet ministers and those that are designated by executive council to have a car, all other elected members drive their own vehicle. This is my car, that is my phone. I pay for both.
"20 minutes later, he stops at a convenience store to buy the local weekly paper and catch up on the hottest topic around central Kings County these days, the weather.
G'day, Eber.
How are you doing?
Not too bad, and yourself?
Cold enough for you, Peter?
Well, for the way I've been feeling, it's probably anything below 75 is cold.
3rd Kings is one of the island's largest ridings, mostly dairy and potato farming. He spends a lot of his day in the car, so modern technology helps keep him in touch. Well, most of the time.
You might tell Jim to go down to my office and check the phone. Yeah, because are you still there? There, check that phone. It's gone. Another hazard of working in the rural community. How's it going otherwise?
Then it's back into Montague to catch up on things in his constituency office in the Regional Services Center. He's been off for several days, battling that nasty flu that's been sweeping the island. The messages and the mail have been piling up.
Carolyn, it's Peter Doucette calling. You had called me last week. I'm just getting back to you now. I'm sorry about that. I have had the flu for a little while, and I'm just in the office today. First day back this week.
In the couple of hours he spends here, he'll deal with myriad problems, including helping this caller get into a training program. He won't make any promises other than to find out what he can.
Why don't I give you a shout back after I check into that and see what I can find out for information then? All right? Okay, dear. Bye.
Soon the first of several visitors drop by. This woman wants to know about building a home on a seasonal road in the Brudenell area.
What are you going to do?
Well?
She wants to be able to build a year-round home in an area designated for cottages, which is the jurisdiction of the local municipality.
We don't have anywhere else to go.
So he promises to set up a meeting with those officials to try to work something out. Sheila Furness says Doucette's time is always full. She used to answer his phones.
Peter is a very busy man. Usually Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays were, anywhere from 20 to 50 calls, mostly looking for jobs. Get me a job. Why haven't I heard from you? Same person maybe 3 or 4 times a day. And Peter would always pick up his messages. He was on the road a lot. 3rd Kings is a big constituency, that's for sure, to cover.
MLAs often have to be a quick study, especially those on tight schedules. He's got about 5 minutes for a briefing on a new computer-assisted learning program recently installed in the Montague Service Center.
They hit the 1, 2, 3 keys. That's basically all they do.
So it's diagnosis of skills where they're deficient.
Yes, it is.
And then you can provide some kind of a plan of how they should go about addressing those shortcomings.
Too often, he says, his constituents have to go to Charlottetown for opportunities like this. Now he's got something he could direct his people to locally.
I'll bring up the student.
Lorraine left a message on my car phone. I'm in the car now, heading to town.
It'll take about 45 minutes to get to his Charlottetown office, so he's got some time to talk about his career in politics. He says jumping into the arena was a natural extension of the volunteer work he did before he was first elected in 1989. He wanted the chance to get more action on some of the projects he considers important in his area.
Like a rural community center, for example, that would be built, or some other issues that people are concerned about, but very simple things.
He never thought life in politics would be as hectic as it turned out to be, nor did he anticipate how much his constituents would come to rely on him. But what stings him the most personally is when he can't satisfy a request. With unemployment of around 20%, often he can't fill a person's need for a job.
Unfortunately, it has happened in a few occasions, and it's not an easy thing to deal with. And sometimes, you know, you think about that for a number of days after the person has made you aware of how frustrated and how hurt and how depressed they might be. It's a difficult thing, and you just do the best you can, I guess.
He admits the days can be long, especially when battling a flu bug, but people say you won't hear him whine or moan. He says he loves his work and takes pride, as other rural politicians do, in knowing the people in his riding.
We know people. We know people. We know their concerns. We know their families. We see them regularly at church and at social events and at public meetings and at a various number of functions. We're aware of how they think and what they think and why they think it.
It's now a little after 1, and he's about to change hats from constituency man to Liberal Party whip. In his Charlottetown office, there's more mail to answer, papers to sign, and meetings to arrange. He's responsible for ensuring all MLAs are ready for the upcoming session of the legislature.
I'm going to meet with Heather very shortly about replies to speech from the throne and replies to the budget address and those green slips for statements by members. I'm even looking at my own here just to kind of jog my memory and all the rest of it.
Shortly after 2, he's off to yet another meeting. Then it'll be back to Montague, where he might get a little supper before an evening session with his riding executive. Work seldom stops, so Peter Doucette doesn't either. Doug Huskelson, CBC News.
And